So welcome for the tuning back into the shop. Today we're going to talk about some name brand Collets, emergency Collets, and what specific material types you can use through them, and my specific experience on them. So what we have here is an 1 5/8" round bar of 6061 and the 6511 flavor. And I went with it because it was cheaper than the 651 cold rolled, which has a more consistent tolerance. So for some of these collets, is going to be a requirement to use them. But the drawback is a 72-inch piece is going to cost twice as much. So instead of being $100, it's going to be over $200. And so that kind of, that'll could potentially justify the cost of buying a different collet. So for an example, if it doesn't work in a Bison in 5/8, which is known to be a little bit tighter than, let's say, a Hardinge, but we'll find out if a Hardinge works. And if that doesn't work, then we're going to have to use an emergency collet and use a 4-flute end mill to drill through the center of that and then bore it out with boring bar to get the desired size that will accommodate this larger round bar. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get down to some measurements so we could see. Here, let's go ahead and make sure this thing is at 0 first. All right. So measurement wise, that measurement is 16305, 6285. Let's see if I can operate these things and be holding the phone at once here, which clearly I'm having some troubles, as you can tell. So you can definitely see that's over, the measurements are over 1.625. So how this is going to be used also kind of dictates, or as a consideration. So I need enough tolerance and wiggle room on both sides that I can use this bar feeder on this Atlas 16C Collet chuck, that I could pull that material through and machine it, and then drill it, tap it, cut it off, and groove it with the Sandvik QSQD tool. So if there's too tight a tolerance and I'm unable to pull that through with the bar feeder, that's not going to be optimal for this setup. So either we're going to have to find the optimal 16C collet, or we're going to have to machine the emergency collet. So with that being said, Bison is known to have a tighter tolerance in there, and probably be a great candidate for, let's say, a 651, but in this case for the 6511, you could kind of hear that grinding a little bit of the inside of the collet kind of scraping with the 6061. So we'll go ahead and pull that guy off there. Sorry, I'm trying to multitask and do this. So I've got to do some wiggling. There we go. There's that guy. Let's check out the emergency collet and see what it's, granted it hasn't been machined, and you want to make sure to hold this so the pins don't come out. But I just wanted to see what kind of, how it slides through that. So that could be a contender if it was machined properly. It has a little bit of wiggle room in there, a couple thou. So that's good. At least that is it's promising as a viable alternative, especially if the Hardinge don't work. But the Hardinge is the gold standard in collets. This is a smooth collet. And normally these things are around $200 and some, maybe $175 at your local tool shop, maybe depending on market. But let's go ahead and see this guy. Let me see. I think I'm hitting that table maybe. Yeah! Woo! Oh man, that has enough play in there that's gonna bar feed nicely through there. That's exactly what I'm looking for, and why that's so important is, like I said, on a 72-inch piece, it runs the 651 runs over $200. So if you're machining a lot of these, like hundreds and hundreds of parts, of small parts, or lots of, let's say, sticks, I mean, it's just one call, it's worth it. Yeah, that definitely has exactly what I'm looking for. I definitely see why they're the gold standard. God, that just made my day. It made my weekend. That's gonna bar feed and pull right through there, no problem. Thanks for tuning in. Hardinge for the win.